Hi, I'm Tim. I'm teaching on Teach First. I'm based in Halifax. I studied at Bristol and I actually was studying history and now I teach science.
I'm Nurdan and I'm currently a maths teacher through Teach First in my second year teaching in South London.
So I think what drew me to Teach First are two things. So first of all, I think the idea that you can use your career for something bigger than yourself. So Teach First is fundamentally a charity about education inequality. And education is such an influential thing in people's lives, and so many people don't have access to a great education, and Teach First is a really great way to be part of a solution to that problem. That's the first thing that drew me towards teaching and Teach First, but then Teach First in particular as well is unique in that you don't need to spend any time on a PGCE. You can just crack straight on and you can get on with doing what it is that you want to do, which is, teaching and helping people out. So that's what drew me to Teach First.
I think for me, what drew me to teaching was, and especially Teach First in particular, was the opportunity to tackle educational equality on a day-to-day basis. I think it's very unrealistic to think that you're going to go into the classroom and 2 years on Teach First, you're going to, change the life of every single student. But knowing that you have the opportunity to have a day-to-day impact, I think for me was fundamental. I wanted the job satisfaction more so than anything else. But also, why I wanted to go into teaching itself in general was I had incredible teachers who were not only amazing teachers in the classroom, but were also role models outside of the classroom too. And I think that was the biggest factor for me. I wanted to essentially be a role model for other students like they were a role model for me. And that's why I got into teaching.
So I think this one's really varied at Teach First. So at Teach First, you're actually placed at a school. So I'm employed by my school, not by Teach First directly. And what that means is that your day depends on your school to a large degree. So at my school, what it means is that you get up quite early. I'm normally in by a little bit before 8. I'm then going to plan my day. So I'm going to plan my lessons. I'm going to print anything that I need printing. And then you just crack on teaching. Most days I'm teaching for 4 hours. So I kind of get one free. And during that time, I'll just be standing in front of a class delivering lessons, as I'm sure all of you would have experienced in your life. So just most of your day is that. And then you spend your free time on the side, marking, planning, and then doing extra things around the department that you might find useful, that you might find you want to help people with.
The most exciting project that I've worked on so far is the University Fair, which is going to be on in the final week of term in Cultural Capital Week. The whole idea is that we're going to collect all different knowledge from different staff and we're going to bring their experience and really capitalise on their experience of university as well as their degrees and present that back to the students. Rather than bringing in external people to speak about universities and degrees, we're going to have internal people. So 1, the students feel more comfortable, and 2, they're a bit more relatable to it. And the whole idea of it is that we essentially show year 7 through to year 10 what university is, where they can go, and essentially expose them to different career paths. I think it's going to be amazing in terms of getting students to think ahead and think past secondary school and think past sixth form and really think about where they're trying to go. And I think that's vital for year 7s as they can pick their options in year 9, but also in year 9 and year 10 as they're starting their GCSEs and really starting to think about their futures and really starting to take into account what these GCSEs and sixth form means to them. And so I'm really excited to be able to host that in the last week of school.
Yeah, so I think that there are a few things I would say in terms of advice. The most important skill, I think, in teaching is an ability to think on your feet. You will definitely not be able to plan for every eventuality in a lesson. And so it's really important to just be able to be given something and run with it. The amount of times that I've planned a brilliant lesson trying to teach kids about electrolysis, only to find out that they've forgotten what an ion is in the first place and that we can't get there. It means that you just got to be able to say, oh, actually, I'm going to shelve what I planned and just freestyle whatever it is that they need in this moment. So that flexibility is really important. And then in terms of advice about Teach First specifically, I'd say just be willing to be told that you're wrong, because most of the time, especially as a new teacher, you won't be perfect at it and there's always room to learn. And so coming at it with that humility and saying, actually, I'm able to receive advice, I'm willing to be told that what I'm doing here isn't a great idea, then that's a really, really important asset to have.
I think the main bit of advice I would give to anyone that's going into teaching is to ask questions and seek help all the time. no question is a silly question. Really go out there and just ask for help, seek help, and really see what everyone else is doing and really question it. You've got to remember that you are going in with zero experience, and people have about 10, 15 years of experience. Really use that and leverage it. But I think a practical bit of advice is actually maybe live in the area. So if you know that you're going to be based in North London, live in North London, live within the community. Because I think the main part of Teach First is being able to really build and maintain those positive relationships. And if you live in the same community, you go around in the same places, that automatically allows you to have strong relationships with your students, which is vital. I think the main skill, in my opinion, is flexibility and adaptability. I think as a teacher, you get so much thrown at you and so many little things thrown at you on a day-to-day basis, whether that's from your form tutor or whether that's from all the other students you teach. And I think just being able to be adaptable to that, to everyone's needs, as well as obviously your own and your department's, is really important. I think the biggest shock I had was that I didn't realise the importance of networking when in teaching. I think I always knew that when you work in a corporate world, networking is vital. Knowing what everyone does, being able to speak to them, and forming those professional relationships is really important. Obviously, it is as important in teaching, but I think for me, I didn't realise how important it was to know exactly what someone does and what role someone does, and how important that is when you're trying to like build your own mission and do your own thing at school. And so I think for me, the biggest shock was actually forming those really strong professional relationships. Go and find out who the SEN person is. Go and find out who does extracurricular activities. Because that way, when you've got your own vision in mind, when you've got your own ideas in mind, you can actually get their support and leverage on their support to make it happen.
At Teach First, you almost have 3 first days. So you've got your first day at Summer Institute, where you'll be working with other people who are also starting Teach First. There, my advice is make as many friends as you can. Talk to everyone, get to know everyone, because those people are people who will be able to support you as you start working, as you come into problems that you don't know how to encounter. That'll be really great support. Second day will be your first day at school. And your first day at school, you probably won't actually be teaching. It'll probably be an inset day where you're just told where your classroom is, what your computer is, how to get to the emails. That day, I'd just say, again, get to know people. Talk to people, get to know your department, and make as many friends as you can. Then your first day of teaching is a very different first day. That's the day where you're going to be learning how to teach, how to present yourself. But most importantly, I'd recommend learning your pupils' names as quickly as you can, because that's the thing which is going to make a real difference. Yeah, so I think the biggest thing I like about my job is that you see the impact. When I was studying for my degree, you spend all your life looking at a laptop and through a screen, and you know that what you're doing is important, but it almost feels like it's not in the real world. Teaching, you're in no doubt that you're in the real world. You're talking to people, you see the impact that you make on them, and that's really, really satisfying, knowing that what you're doing is really helping someone.
I think the reason why I like my job is because I love the light bulb moment. And I've had this quite a few times over the last few weeks, and it's the moment where you realize that actually, like, the reason why you know that, or you've been able to answer that question in an exam or in a test, is because I taught you it. And I think just the satisfaction you get from that, where you're like, actually, I'm doing a good job. And just the constant satisfaction you get where it's like, actually, I think with other jobs, it takes a bit longer. It's like in the long run, you might be like, 6 months down the line, you're doing a good job. Whereas with teaching, there's an opportunity every single day to be like, actually, I've done really well because I've seen this, and it's just tangible results. And I think that's what I love about it, just a tangible result that you can get on a day-to-day basis, whether that's something to do with like maths and their actual education and attainment, or that's something to do with their well-being and something outside of school. And that's why I love my job.